Curro Holdings develops, acquires and manages private schools in South Africa. And the point that you made is that you feel that companies that compete with the state are set to do incredibly well.
Companies that are dependent on the state are not in a happy space. In other words, if you're an engineering construction firm and you're hoping to get paid by Eskom or something, well, as you know, Eskom's got other things to do with its money. Including
huge interest payments, way bigger than their profits.
Exactly. So, you know, those kinds of scenarios are what we need to talk about. But let's back it out a little bit. As far as Curro is concerned, though, scale-wise, as we normally do, it's a reminder,
18 billion rand. Trades on a PE of 100, so this is an expensive stock. You love your PEs of an infinity, 180, pays no dividends. Let's have a look at the share price graph to give us a sense of what is happening there.
Well, look, let's back up the truck. That's the chart. We might come back to it. So as far as our local scenario is concerned, we know there's a lot of noise in our politics at the moment. And at some level, you've got to remember where we are in our electoral cycle. I know people think it's like the end of the world, but we're in that phase when our politics gets very dirty because there's a lot of finger pointing and thrashing around going on with regard to the ANC's succession plan.
Praveen Gordhan, our former finance minister, his favorite statement is that we are a noisy democracy and that is something to celebrate.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's
Digest
true.
That.
Yeah. It's a bit like 10 years ago in the lead-in to the Polokwane meetings. Everyone was getting up in their feelings about Thabo Mbeki, Jacob Zuma, all of that stuff. So we're going to see the same stuff. I think the press is making more of the succession battle between Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma and Cyril Ramaphosa than is real. But at the end of the day, those are probably the dominant candidates. That will be the first thing. I wish we could fast forward to December,
where we have the National Elective Conference
of the ANC with regard to the likely person that will run as their presidential candidate in the election in 2019.
Let me clarify this for you. So effectively, you would have a new leader of the ANC, of the African National Congress, but you would potentially still have President Jacob Zuma as President of the Republic.
Although in that interregnum that year, what we saw last time was that the party couldn't bear to have those twin centers of power, and so the President, Thabo Mbeki, at that point was recalled, and we may see a similar thing here. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just a citizen reading the same newspapers everyone's reading. At the point of the election, we have to then see how the election goes, because, you know, I know the local government election was a big surprise to a lot of people, but remember the electoral turnout in national elections is a lot higher. A lot of people in rural areas come out to vote who are traditional ANC supporters, and therefore, I don't know. I mean, there are all sorts of people making all kinds of wild theories.
It could swing either way. We could have a scenario where we have Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma as President of the African National Congress and President Zuma, her ex-husband, as President of the Republic of South Africa.
Until the actual national election happens, and then the transition presumably would happen. But look, let's bring this back to portfolio investing. The important thing here is don't get too paranoid, don't get too excited, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, don't decide that South Africa is the worst country in the world. It's not.
Don't leave.
Don't leave, and also don't throw out your portfolio positions, because remember, these companies are like real live living organisms. They basically will amend their business plans in order to position themselves for the most attractive opportunities globally.
The other thing about Curro, not only do they compete against the state, but they also are in a very interesting space where the demand-supply equation works in their favor. There is very, very limited supply of schooling, and there is so much demand. So this is your perfect economic model.
And it's tiny, really. I mean, the number of people that are in private schooling outside of the state is still very small. The market opportunity is great. That's why all these new other things that we've been seeing have been coming up and listing.
We've run out of time. Can you actually believe it?
So as far as investment of the day is concerned,
no, but Curro, you got to call
not entirely, yes, definitely hot, and not entirely a mistake that we talked about it today.